information about the book itself. It's the information about reading. Because okay. Oh yeah.
Now we're about to be live in 5, 4.
And welcome on this show again. This is Youth Connect, and we are on Hangout again. And together with my ICT, we're able to use this platform to discuss and also get in deep with some current topics that are going on, but also to get to understand some of the things that youth find as challenges in this community. And today we are privileged to have some invitees, and this is Maria Mayanja Kamikazi, and Executive Secretary of National Youth Council, and his name is Mwesigwa. I want to welcome you both on this panel. Also, if you're watching us live, we have two branches, or we have two other sites that are following us right now live, and this is KLab, and we have young innovators that just awarded in our last big Youth Connect launch. We also have our site in Huye, and they are all live today. So just to get into this today's topic, which is actually looking at how youth or how young people can grab available opportunities to go from one step to another. And we're just going to go ahead and just start talking about this issue. We see that unemployment has been a big issue in this country. We see that we have a lot of young people that are on the street sometimes looking for what to do. We see a lot of fresh graduates coming from universities and walking around with envelopes to whom it may concern, request of the job, I want a job. I just want to start with Executive Secretary of National Youth Council. Would you tell us how you observe? Do you observe this thing as an issue in young people?
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation, and I think I thank everybody who is here participating in this presentation conversation. One, unemployment is not actually an issue; it's a global issue. It's a global issue that has affected the youth with different references that I would give: the Asian countries, Arabian countries. But coming back at us as the youth in Rwanda, we are facing the same challenge of unemployment. However, there are some of these policies that have been put in place by the government, which would facilitate and help the youth to have the access, to have the opportunities for the way how they would get jobs. I start by, one, the youth, they have this mindset, of course, of thinking of dependence, whereby you may think that after graduating, you immediately get a job.
But isn't this the routine though? Like, that's what we are used to. It's not, we can't blame this on the youth, because if you look at how the idea of getting a job has been, played out throughout the ages, it's going to school, after having to go to school, now applying for jobs and getting in. That many people have been actually successful with that routine. What is wrong with that routine?
But you see, that's the mindset we should be changing right now. Because the government has almost 2% of the job on the market, and the youth is almost more than 60% maybe. Now, what do you expect? Do you expect that the youth would get these 2%, which would cover that 60%? So what we would think, you change a mindset, initiate as youth. You are energetic, you are aggressive, so you should think of creating our own jobs. We should be problem solvers and getting solutions to these problems.
Problem solvers, and I think this goes to Maria Mayanja, who actually saw the problem and tried to solve it. Would you tell us more about how you actually saw unemployment? Did you actually go and apply on some places and then you were denied to get the job, and then you thought very angry, and then you decided maybe I can create my own job and I will be my own boss? Or were you just annoyed with your boss and decided to go ahead and start the job?
I was annoyed with my boss. Anyway, I'm joking. I started my business while I was still in university.
Mhm.
I hadn't yet completed university, but I think from a very young age, I wanted to be a bit independent and yeah, just to have control of how my income is coming and, you know, things like that. I also dreamt of employment. I have worked at a few jobs, but I
You
think
didn't like it, eh?
no, not that I didn't like it. I actually enjoyed it a lot. And as I was thinking as a young person, if I want to be independent, then I have to start from a lower ground. How can you employ people if you do not understand how you don't
Employment
understand
works.
you don't understand their position. So I got a few jobs, not necessarily thinking, oh, I'm doing this in practice so that I can become an entrepreneur one day. No, because I just looked for opportunities and I needed to survive, and I went and got a job. Yeah, but in the long run, in my head, I was still like, oh, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur one day. So yeah.
Well, I see that you started something called Angaza. Angaza is a brand name. Angaza, we have seen it in many different places. What's Angaza? What's behind that name? What is actually Angaza? What does even that mean?
So we are in the East African community right now, and Kiswahili is one of the most spoken languages in the region. So Angaza is actually a Swahili word which means to illuminate. Mu Kinyarwanda nukumurika. So why we chose this name is because we want to shine a brighter light onto the world, to show people concepts that they have never seen before and look at them as opportunities instead of obstacles. So yeah, that's what we want to
Mr. Robert, here we go. This is your pride of the policies that you have put in place. So coming back to you, I'm wondering, talking about looking at the perspective or the even statistics of Rwandan youth, you know, knowing that we have at least almost 70% of people that are under age of 35. That's very big number, and that's very big energy as well. That's very energetic community. And looking at it, not having actually jobs that can satisfy these people, is this, have you found challenges in even the youth council of this not being causing some issues even the communities beside even anything else?
Let me first thank Kamikaze
Yes.
for the good intervention that she has made, and actually being the best experience that would encourage youth also to be like her, possibly. You see, the government has put in place some of these policies, like National Employment Program policy, and it is just based on DPRS 2, of course.
EDPRS 2, yes.
DPRS 2, which would focus on youth and women empowerment in terms of economy. And yeah, some other stakeholders in the government have been being involved in looking for these possible solutions to the problem of unemployment. There's very, like, 4 ministries have been involved with the MIFOTRA, which has been involved in monitoring and coordinating this program or this policy, whereby the MINAROC is involved in market intervention. Then the Ministry of Education provides some skills. The challenges we are having is we have these SMEs of youth have been having a problem of mortality rate. It starts today, it dies tomorrow, which has been a very big challenge. Government has been providing this as a solution, whereby it has decentralized technical know-how or technical skills down at the level of the sector level, by the way, whereby you have business development assistance, which would help the youth. Those SMEs, those contractors that would start, they would coach them some skills in business to help them. And they actually provide some information of the opportunities that is around the community or the youth. So we have 2 staffs at the sector level. Then at district level, there is a division which has been set up with 4 staffs.
So I heard a challenge in this, maturity level. These is SMEs not being able to actually mature at the level of the market and being able to sustain themselves. So have you found cure for this problem? Like, have you actually went in and looked of why this actually happened and found a very critical reason to why that happened? Then maybe go ahead and find solutions for that.
The problems that have been raised, it's because someone comes out of the university and starts an SME or a cooperative or a business, But having studied the management or social science doesn't mean that you will start a business immediately. You need some skills, business skills.
So you think it's lack of knowledge that is causing that?
Most probably, yes. It's a big percentage. Whereby they have started, we have very many examples whereby they start today, the next day the business goes down. Lack of business skills. But if we would work with these stakeholders, they would provide some business skills, some business coaching.
So have you seen improvement though?
Which would actually improve on the knowledge they have. Okay.
So I'm hearing that you work with some stakeholders to help give these people skills on how to actually sustain themselves on the market. Did you ever benefit from that?
I have benefited from some, though not from the government itself. Some are private, international, and they have been really helpful. I just want to comment on something that he has said about there being a gap in knowledge and in business development skills from young people who want to start businesses. That is one part of it, but I don't think that's the whole picture, because I think this is my point of view. Some people start a business without a lack of vision and a lack of purpose. Why am I starting this business? I think that's the first and foremost important thing.
Lack of the vision, lack of knowledge, both true. But I also see the danger, like in terms of working with youth. Again, you have a lot of passion going on. You have people that are passionate, and whatever they do, they want to do it today. They want to use their energy as much as they could. So for me, again, going back to to having lack of the knowledge, but also not really having the vision. So how do you install the two? Because having a vision and having knowledge actually leads you to actually using very well your passion. So how do you help these young people match the two?
Having a vision, of course, one of our core mission is to advocate, transform, both social, economically. But there's one thing that we are doing also, how we can, we bring this gap, we link up this gap between the government institutions and the private sector. Because you can't talk about economic transformation minus the private sector.
Exactly.
So what we are doing is just looking and advocating with these private financial institutions, like banks, and we look at how could these banks provide some loans, some loan facilities to the youth, which is still a challenge. Actually, we'll give some of these challenges to you, because you come out from the school, you put up a company, tomorrow you're going to the bank and look for a loan. The bank will say there are some issues to be discussed with you. So still we are trying to enhance and promote the youth in groups. Maybe it's be a corrective effort for the youth. Then you go to the bank correctively. Have this problem of mortgage. I think people have been raising this. And you want to go to the bank and you have started your life from school. It's not easy. To have this mortgage and the security. So, but when you are 2 or 3, the little you have, you can combine together and become something, maybe something bigger than what you've been expecting. At the same time, you have this, if you are 2 or 3 or 4, it would be better. I would do.
So you are trying, as the National Youth Council, you're trying to push the idea of working together, two are more better than one.
Sure.
Understandable. So I'm wondering, did you feel like you were the only person who was motivated enough to do this? Did you feel like this was just something that you had to do by yourself? Because it's hard to share a vision with many people. Like it's very hard to actually share the vision. I may be sitting here thinking of doing a boutique. I think that's all I can do. Maria may be thinking of, you know, having a hotel like Serena, and that's necessary. It doesn't make any other bad. Just like how do you bridge the you know, how do you reconcile the conflict in that mindset?
That's a very interesting question. I think it's easier to have a team. A team is very important. You can never be the only person, you know, pushing the car. For example, there has to be more people, unless, you know, you have super strength, which we do not have. But working alone, sometimes, as you said, selling the vision to more people can be difficult. And sometimes it needs for you to lead and show that, hey, this is something that can actually be profitable or something that can bring benefit, and then you can have followers. But I think normally it's usually easier to start, you know, if you have shared the vision with a few people, and then they can come together and then, you know, build something strong from that. Personally, I came up with the idea, and actually, let me just say something. These people to bring you together, they may not be in your business, but these are people who you may ask for skills. I may come to Amos because I know Amos is good in finance. I may come to Mesigwa because he's good in marketing. And these are people who are helping me, but they're doing their own separate things, and I'm the only one who's driving this bus. So that is still some teamwork. I'm not alone in my vision.
Yes, I understand that to make sure that any company is successful is to be able to understand the whole concept of business. It's not just having a vision. And there's something there's a writer that wrote a book called E-Myth, and it talks about how you can't be the manager and be the visionary and be the technician in one and I think you're kind of talking about the same thing. But I want you to take me through the journey of actually creating Angaza. You know, like what motivated you to actually even come to that, you know, correcting bunch of stuff and creating how did you realize you have that creation capability?
So I haven't yet, I've only said what Angaza means, but I haven't said what we do.
Exactly.
So Angaza is a green enterprise. If you can see behind me, there's smart environment, and we stand true to that. We thought of, Rwanda is a very clean country, and it's known for that. And I've always had a passion for environment. That's where it all began. And that's why I was saying, apart from the business skills, you also need to have a purpose, a vision, a passion, something of the same sort. So for me, my passion has been environment all over, all through. And that has opened my mind to look for opportunities and, you know, avenues for me to express that through activism, you know, doing activities with the youth and children for this. So one day I just thought about, you know, all the billboards in Kigali, where do they go after they're pulled down, after the marketing campaign is done? And after a bit of research, I found out actually, nothing is being done with them. So I did a bit of research online again and just thought of ideas of how to reuse it, and I found out actually people can make bags out of it. Some people are making even shoes. So I said, this can also work in Rwanda. So I acquired a few materials and made my first prototype for a bag, and I went and asked all my friends, you know, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? And they
were looking for an authentic answer.
Yes,
it looks fantastic. Or were you ready to take the other answer?
I was straight with them. Tell me straight on, is this going to work or is this not going to work? So from that's when I got to know this is a good product to have, and this is not such a good product to have. Yeah, from that. Yeah, and I was also in environmental engineering at the university, and this opened my mind up to more opportunities that are out there. From the waste management class that we studied, I was able to, you know, get interested and started wondering about all these other different types of waste in Kigali that maybe no one is taking care of.
So that was your internship.
Yeah, it was my internship.
She did her internship at her own company. Well, I mean, again, this is the pride of, you know, this is a young person doing what you want them to do. But again, going back to you and asking you, you know, how do you install purpose? How do you install purpose in these young people? Because I think it would be hard for a person to create a job without really necessarily having to understand the purpose. Because many people, many young people, because of lack of job, they're wasting their lives in many different things. You find that actually many programs are there socially to prevent them from using drugs and all of these things that are results of actually not doing anything. So how do you install purpose in these people to get them to actually to even start thinking about doing a job?
No, thank you. I think installing purpose is like coming as what you said, a student of environment engineering to now making a business that at least has a connection with what she studied from school. You know? But at the same time, you know, we are making a purpose when we are talking about these like business plans, competition business plan, starting from the university level, and actually we are moving with the students at the secondary level. Instead, actually having time to talk about business. Like next week we are having one in the KIST auditorium room, whereby you have some of these young innovators like Kamikaze and others, whereby we should be even involving these big people, the Makuzas, those big people that have made success stories. So they would be having a debate on how the way forward, the way route from the zero to where they have reached. So that the students, we shall be dealing with the students from university students. Then the university students now we should be having listening to what actually these people passed through. So it would help. These are some of the ways how we could motivate these young youth to get awareness and
yeah, I think it's also good to get them actually even to see that image of a person. Someone has met it there. But I have a question around that. When you have a person like a very successful business person coming to young people who are in their 20s and one is in their 50s or 60s, that's 40 years of difference and a lot of work in between. Are these people able to actually explain step by step even the challenges of being your own boss and the burdens that come with that? Or is this more of a shining glory of having a job by yourself?
Yeah. Anyway, we are involving those. We are having the young ones, like the young innovators, always that have been surfacing. We have some of these young people from Uchirehe, where they have been very successful. Someone studied agriculture and is doing agribusiness. You know, very interesting. And at the age of 30, he has a very big factory, where he has a capital of maybe 10 to 20 million. You see, and he started as a chemical started. At the same time, these people like what I've been talking, these old people, you know, they started their business at the age of 20. Most of these people at the age of 20. And actually, most of them, it's not a matter of saying that they graduated, studied in very many schools and very many diplomas, you know. But they have started this mindset of starting a business. And may find someone started at the age of 20, he's now becoming 60, very successful in his business. So I think it's good.
It's good to let them learn. So, and then they are also presenting a lot of ideas which were very fresh during their time, which may not be as fresh as today's business ideas. So I'm wondering, again, bringing in Kamikaze, I'm wondering, you know, we like to talk about, and I think we love the idea of having innovation throughout this, you know, me being able to listen to what you said and also knowing, oh, but I can add this and then this will make this completely something else. How do you bring innovation in Angaza? How valuable is it to you as a person, even Maria?
Before I answer the question on innovation, I just want to build on what Mwesiga has said about this older entrepreneurs coming in to tell the younger entrepreneurs about their experiences. They say it's good to learn from experience, but it's wiser to learn from other people's experiences. So maybe the situation was different in their time, but there are very many things that are cross-cutting through generations. There are very many similar characteristics that we can learn from them. Yeah, so they should not be pushed aside.
Yes.
If anything, they're the ones who paved the way for us to be there. So they should always be involved.
They should teach us. But my question comes back to you. we are understanding this way of doing back in 90s when they started their businesses, or back in even, let's say, even 2005. You know, the market of has grown, and we are looking at the technological. This is a technology era. It's not just something that you can just come up with just an idea. There's a lot of innovation and creativity. So my question, I repeat it again. How valuable is it to you personally? How did even innovation idea, being innovative, push you to be who you are, or to become Angaza that is making these products?
I'm young. That's one of the answers I'd give. And you know, when you're young, you're always looking for all these opportunities. It doesn't mean that when you're old, you stop looking. But when you're young, you have the time, you have the energy, and all of that. Innovation is very, very important right now. They always say that, you know, we cannot reinvent the wheel. It has already been invented, but you can always make, you know, no, you can't even make modifications to the wheel because it will no longer be one. But you have to open your mind. You have to be aggressive in doing research and finding out, oh, what is being done? How can I make it better? You know. So for me, in Angaza, research is really, really important to just find out what are the other people in the market doing, what's the competition, what can I do better than them, what can I do, you know, differently from them, so that I can create my own niche, my own market, just because I'm very different. So yeah, I think I'd just say innovation is important in.
Yes, and I think sometimes it's not even seen until you actually finish your product and see how it's competing with the other products on the market. And I'm staying with you on this because I want us to understand really, how does that even impact your product on the market? Because you have a big competition on the market. You have a lot of bags that are made in leather, kitenge. We have a lot of different materials. So how does innovation fight the competition that is already on the market and push through and bring you income?
Well, I believe our products are totally different from all the others that are there in the market because of the material that we use. Apart from the material, the very first purpose that we have for our bags, when you buy a bag, you know that it's environmentally friendly. That's the very first thing. We do not go and, you know, for example, process leather and, you know, to finally get something that can make a bag, or, you know, use a lot of resources. We're already using something that's existing to make something new out of it. So number one, it's environmental purpose behind our bag. So whoever is buying this bag knows that I'm actually saving the environment by purchase of this bag.
Well, by saving the environment. So it sounds also educational in many ways.
Yeah.
And again, this puts me back to you. You know, there are different business ideas that may be business ideas, but not great business ideas. If a person has smoked marijuana or has used drugs, and thinks and has a group of people that can buy from him, I'm assuming that will not be something that you advise of, something which goes back to even your question that something that you're talking about, you know, having impact. How do you again install this impact of the business, just not the job, but a good job for that is even benefiting the community? How do you respond to such a educational mindset? Yes. So how do you push these ideas? Because many people can just grab into ideas of, you know, starting a business. Therefore, whatever gives me money, I can start it.
Okay.
So how do you get guys like young people to actually start these ideas that are beneficial to them, to their health as well? Because there are lots of unhealthy businesses.
Maybe we should stop these young girls or boys being involved in selling tobacco, cigarettes, or
yeah, or not even tobacco, cigarettes. We have a big issue.
marijuana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how do we push these young people to be able to start not just business ideas, but business ideas that are constructive to the communities, that have impact? Yeah.
But actually, apart from even that one, having a business, suppose now a young boy has an idea of starting a tobacco factory.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, just as young as he is.
Mm.
What is very important is this of knowing the impact and the negative impact and the positive impact of the society, and what he wants, as she said at the beginning. So, being involved, of course, for us as a National Youth Council, we sensitize the youth against all those bad behaviors and the behavioral changes that deals with negative tendencies and something like that.
Mm.
But at the same time, we need to encourage them with their business ideas, minus all those things that we are talking about. At the same time, we still have that challenge. But you get the youth have been involved in those bad behaviors, of course, which is actually a very big challenge. However, we are now starting very soon. I think next month, August, sensitization with other stakeholders, by the national police, and going to schools actually to talk about this, which affects our youth. Some Westerners always thinks that doing those things are indicators of development, which is actually very wrong. When I talk about development, you want to see people living in a better life, not living with smoking or drinking a lot of alcohol. So it's a very big challenge, and when we are advocating for this and we are bringing the youth on this, we bring the youth mostly to provide the possible solution for the problem of empowerment economically. Yes, empowering economically, and then sensitizing them, showing them that some indicators of these bad behaviors and everything. However, as I've told you, everything is being done in a community way and in a collective manner. So mostly when you're dealing with this, we need to bring on, as I've told you, the private sector to see if these business, their plans, their ideas, if they can be applicable to the business institutions or business community. So it goes hand in hand, of course.
Of course, it goes hand in hand. And we, again, today, as we talked about, as we are continuing our conversation, we are talking about job and how young people can actually grab the opportunities out there and be able to use it for themselves, take advantage of what is going on to actually create and have to be able to have jobs that are even newer, relatively newer to the market. And we have Caleb, we have young innovators that are joining us today, and that's a site that we have. We also have young people from here who are on the other side. And in this conversation, we are with Maria Kamikazi Mayanja from Mwangaza, and we are together with Robert Message, who is Executive Secretary of National Youth Council. And we are continuing on this job issue in young people. And I want us to go a little bit back and see how successful has been National Youth Council to actually sensitize, this creation of jobs, creativity in young people. How successful have you been in this sensitization of creativity?
Okay, we have relevant examples with my city, National Youth Council. Every annually we have these business plan competitions, which inspires the youth, of course, to be competitive. And we have been enhancing this competitiveness among the youth, maybe through SMEs. At the same time, we have this Youth Connect Convention, whereby we promote the young innovators every year, which is coming in December. So this has helped very much.
Did you hear that? They are young innovators. You should be on the list. So this year should attend. Exactly.
Yeah, actually, even in August, we are trying to see if we can promote like 10 youth organizations who would be in the trade fair, the Exposio, so that you would actually exhibit, they attend the exhibition and compete with others. They should show what they are doing. When you interact with these people from West Africa, young people from everywhere, they talk, they chat, they watch what they have been doing. It's also very good for these young people. And
we have seen in agriculture also, we have seen this in agriculture area where they take, for example, some people that are doing some stuff in Sanze and the Gisenyi or any other part of the country, and then empower these people to start some something, and then when they started, they actually opened their eyes to the bigger community market. And we have seen people going back and forth outside of the country. Have you done such a thing where you let young people, you help young people get away and learn and grab an idea from outside and then bring it to Rwanda? Have you had such a thing?
Actually, with Line Ministry, MyICT, we are trying to, through the IT, to link these young people, these young innovators to the market abroad. So we are even having one in Rubavu, doing in agribusiness, who actually is now moving out with how his goods outside, I think in Tanzania. He's now dealing with Rwanda Revenue Authority, how he can be exporting his goods, his products to Tanzania. And actually, he even has a market in Belgium.
Oh.
Yes. So they are trying. We have that one of Chirehe doing also in agribusiness, making kahunga, you know this kahunga. Yes. It has a very big market because the kahunga is, you get kahunga from maize. And most of these people in the eastern province, they grow maize. So you know it has that market.
It's taking advantage of what is going on.
Around the community, of course.
And then this is the reason why we're even talking about this, because it is not being done as much as could have been, because if that was the case, then employment rate will be very high, or will not be talking about employment if it was not a problem. And we're just trying to see, so what is causing the problem in those communities? Like, what is causing the problem of not having people to create jobs? Because you're doing your job, we have some people that are picking it. What is lacking? What is lacking in the community? Besides the knowledge and the vision, because the knowledge and the vision, yes, can be problems, but what are the practical things? Because we talk about loans being there, we talk about BDF helping, and also we need to understand how successful are these ideas of even supporting these people. So, practically, what is missing?
Actually, what is missing is, apart from what we have discussed as skills and everything, what is missing is linkage to capital. This gap, you know, they may be having ideas. What we are trying to link up, you know, is linking the youth, those young innovators, to the capital, which is now a problem. And which capital we are talking about? We are talking about private sector, financial institutions, you know, that link. And that is what we are advocating for. They may be having good ideas. They may be having very big business plans. But how do you access this capital? This is the gap we are trying now to fix.
Mayanja.
She can give us.
Maria, you had like 10 million in your account, and you were like, okay, I can take advantage of that market. I'm going to use this 10 million and do this. So how much money did you have in your pocket when you started Angaza?
Making the very, very first sample of my bag, I had about 5,000 francs.
For you?
Yes.
So 5,000, that was your capital?
That was my starting capital, I'd say.
So
and when we went to market, it was less than 30,000 francs.
So now, young people, you're listening. This lady who is now sitting and giving us tips and advice on how we can go about this started with 5,000. Is this common? Is this common in this creation of jobs? Is this common in young people? Do many people have this mindset of saying, even with 5,000, I can do something that would be greater?
I think this is what we should be preaching right now.
Is it preached here already? Because she is doing
what you are preaching right now as one of our gospels. You see, you cannot invest without saving. Honestly, yes. So now we are trying to mobilize to sensitize. We have spent very many months around sensitizing the youth to at least save. You see what I said, 5,000. To tell someone that even saving 200 or 500 francs is a saving itself. See, this is the problem. Most of these, they don't understand that. And you cannot invest without saving. So it is one of our performance contracts actually in the National Youth Council to make sure that each and every Kagari River, at least Kagari River, should be having at least 100 saving groups, which is a very big challenge. And this is the suggestion that we will be making. So if you can save maybe 5,000, as I said, or 2,000, you can start with buying one poultry or something, one chicken, I don't know what they call it, one hen.
So Maria, you're talking about starting your business with 5,000. Where are you now?
Oh, it's a secret.
If I wanted to buy your company, if I wanted to invest in your company, how many, to buy a share, how many thousands of dollars or Rwandan francs should I have?
Oh, we're not there yet to tell you that this is how much you can give to own a share of a
So
company.
you're still struggling to get to that vision.
Yeah, we are still growing steadily, slowly but steadily. Yeah. I just wanted to add a bit more on what Mwesige was saying about having capital and just the misconception of the youth today to think that in order for me to start a business, I should start big. You know, if it was for me, I would maybe I would have said I'm not going to start my business until I have a workshop full of sewing machines. And if I would have thought like that, I'm telling you the truth, Amos, I would not have started. I would not have started up to now. So it's just thinking that how much do I have? Who else can contribute, you know, thinking about community, and that this is some of our values as Rwandans, thinking about community. How can my community help me? It's not only about me, it's about community. So reaching out to people and saying, hey, I have this great idea, how do you want to help out, and maybe in 5 years I can give you, you know, 10 shares of the capital. So starting small, but dreaming big is essential. Yeah.
Starting small, dreaming big is essential. And we have Caleb and we have young innovators over there who are listening. And this is a good point for you guys to come in and also share with us. I'm not sure if they are you, Caleb, ready to actually talk to us?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you so much. I'm called Igor Kamana. I'm a member of Rwanda National Youth Council at District, at Gasabo District. Here I'm with young people from Gasabo District and in different area here in Kigali City. But most of them are young entrepreneurs and others, they plan just to become self-employed. So on their behalf, I would like to thank you for this great opportunity just to have this Youth Connect, because it's believed as the best way just to hand out their challenges. Secondly, I would like to thank you for your remarks, Maria, for your success story sharing. Are you an inspiration speakers? And thank you for Robert as Executive Secretary of Rwanda National Youth Council. So young people who are here at KLab, they told me that you are the people they have waiting for, because they are young people, as I have been told. So they try to start their business, but they are facing so many challenges. So allow me just to give them the time just to express their idea and questions.
And
Thank
now
you
we
very
are going
much.
to be okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Gilbert Banamwana. I'm Managing Director of Psycho Investment Cooperative. It is a startup microfinance initiated by young students from Kigali Independent University. First of all, we are appreciating this show because it is very important to share ideas, opportunities, and challenges of youth to start their own jobs. For us, I can share the experience because Executive Secretary of National Youth Council, he clarified that to start our own job as a youth, they require money, they require initial capital. Saving, it is very important, but saving, it is not a big money, just a little money. For us, we are started with just 100 coin saving per day campaign. We initiated the 100 coin saving per day. After 1 year, we initiated our own microfinance and operating in a proper way, and we offered jobs, we offer loans, we inspire other youth. That is a successful story from just a little money from a coin, from just a coin. That's why I inspire other youth to start small and grow big, to think big and grow rich. That's why, for me, I appreciate and inspire youth to think big, but start small. Because the youth, they think to start with a big project. But with a big vision, we may start small and grow big. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gilbert. Do we have another comment or question, Maria or Robert, who are here to actually give us more ideas on what's happening on the market, what are the youth doing, what is the National Youth Council ready to do for youth to create more jobs, and also questions for Maria, what did she do to be where she is today? Do we have more questions or comments?
Thank you. My name is Laura Urimuenshi. I do agribusiness. I would like to come up on this opportunity. Thank you. It's an opportunity for young people to share our ideas and get some inspiration from others. For me, I would like to insist on agribusiness among young people. In fact, we have different exciting opportunities in agribusiness, from research, seeds multiplication, processing, marketing, and more other opportunities in agribusiness. But I would like to know really what is being done today to integrate young people in agribusiness. Because when you see statistics and research numbers, for sure, young people are not interested in such a sector in agribusiness. That's one. Two, I would like to challenge the National Youth Council, my ICT. You know, TVETs are being established countrywide, what is good for electricity and the other sectors. But we don't have more than 2 TVETs for agriculture. We have...
We can't hear you.
Agribusiness. We don't have professionals in irrigation, professionals in processing, professionals in seeds multiplication, and in all of those sectors we have emerging opportunities. I think if something is being done to increase opportunities and create more young professionals in agribusiness should be a solution to employment among young people. Thank you.
I think that's a question to you, Mr. Robert.
I think actually this is not a question of my ICT or NYC. It's a question of maybe Ministry of Education, which would provide a TVET for agrobusiness. What I said about professional agrobusiness, of course, yes. A good example I would wish is to tell you that we have one of our students who actually is a laboratorist in agriculture. So when writing his thesis, he got what he wrote in his thesis, and he brought up with an idea of making a business. He applied that one purely in his own business. I think a student of one of the universities that deals with agriculture. So professionals, of course, we have been promoting the TVET, the hands-on skills, that deals with electricians, as I said, technicians, And with this agribusiness, maybe it's an issue of means of education. We should put in place this.
And I think it's raising a very important issue. If you look at the family, at the society, the community of Rwanda, we have more than 70%, 80% of people depending on agriculture. So if you do not have creativity and innovation in that area, I think then the bigger percentage is not going to be able to create jobs, because that's what they see, they breathe. So going back to you, Maria, and I'm just going to hold on for Kerab for a second. You know, what do you, who was there before you? Who was there in that area when you actually made a choice to start doing this in this country? Who was there before you?
Do you mean locally?
Locally, yes.
In the sector that I'm in?
Yes.
Oh. I really don't know. I couldn't look at entrepreneurs, but anyway, I did my research to just see who's there, for example, in the area of waste management, and I talked to the owner of COPED. I remember one of my lunch breaks, COPED is right near KIST, so I ran down there and I had a meeting with him and just asked him about waste management in the city of Kigali and how they go about it. So that was just part of research. Locally, I know I just didn't have anyone to look up to. For me, this
or
was
to compete with.
Or yeah, maybe I would say I'm yeah, especially in my type of business, maybe no one to compete with. But for me, again, I go back to passion, because for me, it's the very most important thing for somebody starting a business. That was my passion, environment. And when you have a passion in something, you start seeing problems, but I call them opportunities. And then you start seeing how doors can open towards that problem. I'd like to comment a bit about the agribusiness and getting youth involved, and Laurent saying that maybe there are no professionals, for example, in irrigation. I did water and environmental engineering, and I know we covered irrigation, so there are definitely people out there. There are so many people out there who know about irrigation as well as agribusiness and have studied agriculture. We have institutions set aside just for agriculture. There's one in Ruhengeri that is focusing on agriculture. So it's about us showing the youth how agriculture is not just about me going to the farm and digging. That is not agriculture. You have to be innovative, as Amos said. Look at how can you bring how can you connect, for example, ICT and agriculture? Can you create maybe an app or a program or a system where people can know this is the rainy season, it's time for me to plant, these are the prices on the market for this type of
just pouring out now business ideas.
You know, yeah, things like that. So if you are doing agriculture, doesn't mean that you have to go to the farm and, you know, and have to dig. I also want to do agriculture, by the way, Laurent. I have a few ideas. Maybe we can talk someday.
Yeah, and I think again, there's one specific issue that I'm hearing in this. You know, there's this mindset of looking down on some kind of jobs in young people, and this is a big attitude when it comes to job creation. And I'm wondering, how do you tackle this in the in National Youth Council, because it's a very big issue. Like we can say that it's actually one of the biggest issues, because people don't want to start small, because being big seems very good, but getting there is impossible without starting small. And starting small sometimes means to actually getting in dirt and having to do it yourself and digging and all of those things.
Almost, this is a matter of changing the mindset, actually. This is a matter of changing mindset. At the same time, this is a matter of sharing these experiences. As Gilbert has said, someone starting with 100 coin and making it 100 coin saving group. So it is the best experience. I think it is not even in KAU. We have even in IERCA. Some of these students have merged with a very big cooperative, saving cooperative, with I think more than 500 million. And starting with just saving 100. As a student, how much would we save? Some little money. So it's a matter of mindset. People should think of starting with something small, not think something big. And that's the challenge we are having, actually. That's why you may find that they think something so big, having nothing, and they want to go to the bank and get money. Of course, If you would come to my bank as a private bank, I won't give you this money.
So then how do you, again, as the institution that is in charge of actually empowering young people and giving them education and changing the mindset, I'm wondering practical ways on how do you go about this, because you might find someone who is not willing to even go in the remote area because he's a city boy and he doesn't want to go do anything with the village. So how do you change such a mindset, because we have a very small city?
Almost this is a matter of learning from experience. We have some actually. We have one of our national youth coordinator in Musanze who started his business from Musanze, just in a remote area there, and he has grown very successful about this. So it is just a matter of sensitizing the youth and actually giving them an idea that even starting a business from down in Urera, you would be having a business and you can be successful. But those are, of course, as you know, being aggressive and being young and being in the town, thinking of moving from here to Eastern Province is also another problem. But we need to engage these people here.
Well, yeah, so that's why we are discussing again. We are also with the site from Huye, and they have been polling and they are on this live discussion as well. And if you have question 1 or 2 questions to Maria or Mr. Robert, please go ahead and ask your question, and welcome to the conversation. Huye, can you hear us? We can hear them. Well, as we are facing technical issues, we want to go back and conclude in a few minutes. But again, how easy is it to have your own business? Not in terms of having an idea, but in terms of actually running it. What does it require? Because we have seen people starting and failing. We have seen people even with big money, not just because of the issue of the money, but even going to the bank and being able to have the loan, and the next day we hear the business is lost. How easy is it?
Almost, that's a very easy question. It is not easy. If anything, entrepreneurship is, they always say entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted, because there are very many ups and downs, and sometimes you are alone, and you know that these are my goals and I have to achieve them, come rain, come shine. And a lot of the times there's more rain than shine. But again, you have to surround yourself with people who share your vision, who share your dream, and who can add something into it that you yourself cannot have. So running a business is not an easy thing at all, but with the support system around you, building a team that works with you, surrounding yourself with mentors, advisors, and people who can always add some salt into the food that you're trying to cook, that will always help.
Do you ever get scared of being one of the ones that may end up finishing in 10 years, or you're confident that this is taking on and you're ready to go?
I think that's one of the things actually that makes businesses fail, thinking that, oh, okay, I'm going to become an overnight success. In 2 years' time, I'll be selling in the US, Germany, and everywhere else. It can be true, but it's also good to make realistic goals, smart goals, goals, that this is what I want to achieve, but it may take me this amount of time for me to be able to get there, and you have to be comfortable with that. That's the struggle of business. It's not an overnight success, and sometimes those overnight successes do not last.
I have one question that I have to ask before we even conclude, and we forget sometimes that even these graduates they've learned things to do with services, not necessarily creation of physical selling or physical creation of things, but even creativity with the technology that is advancing, with different ideas that is coming up. How do you even push the idea of selling services? Because services are part of what we need on a daily basis. So besides selling the physical stuff and doing all of this, the apps, how do you, like such a things like consultants, we see this. So do we have such a because we see these markets taken by different people from different nations, and I'm wondering how important is it to actually even start, bringing these ideas to these people that, you know what, you don't have to just have a house to rent, or you don't have to have a shop to sell, you don't have to do this, but you can also sell your services.
Can I answer that before giving it to Messi? Yeah, I just take it from my example and many other entrepreneurs who are there. I went to school and studied something. How can you put it in practice? It's as simple as that. Start from what you know. Yeah.
What, and then again, you can answer that, but as we're also concluding this and Huye, I see that Huye, you're ready. Just give me 1 second, we'll be back to you in just 2 minutes. I'm wondering, what do you have for youth? Why do you have for youth that you feel like they're not taking advantage of it as National Youth Council? In terms of creating jobs, what are the opportunities that are there that we're talking about that you don't feel like youth actually understand or know about?
Actually, youth in general, we are trying to move from this fear of thinking that whatever you start, you fail. This is the war we are fighting against. But at the same time, of course, if you are talking about like in the districts, people, if you are coming from a certain district, like maybe Chilehe or certain district, down there, before you think the opportunities around the community, you immediately think of going to Shigari to look for a job. And some of these opportunities are there. Some of these things are there. You would think what is nearer to me regards what I want to do in business. Okay, what you has said, agribusiness, what I said, like supply. At the same time, what is here? What do I need? Some of these young boys have started doing so, and even being engaged with even the local government institutions, the private institutions, are dealing with them at that local level. But someone thinks, let me go to Chigai, that's why I will get a job. This is a very big. At the same time, we know, as Shah said, think of putting the things right. What you have in head, think of put it down and think it rightly.
All right, bringing theory into practice, that is where we are now, and we are going to Huye now to hear from the side from Huye. What are you guys thinking about? What are you picking up? What are the questions that you have, and what are the contributions that you have as well? Because we cannot do this by ourselves. You have your role, and let's pray right now. Huye? Huye is still having technical issues. I think we can be, again, still on the job creation thing. And we've been talking about success. Success. And we also have these people that are failing. You may find that it's not even their fault. You may find that there are reasons to fail. There's always a reason to fail. How important is it to actually, how do you encourage such a person to get up and do it again? How do you get a person to get up and do it again?
Failure is a part of life. We face it in everything, not only in business. And the only success formula that is there to failure is to not fear, to be courageous, to stand up, dust yourself off, and try again. So yeah, I think failure it's part of life. There's no way to avoid it. But what makes a difference is the person who stands up and says, I'll go ahead, as opposed to the person who sits there and grunts and waits and thinks and regrets. Okay. That's a difference.
Now going back to still with you, how many times have you failed before you actually? How many business ideas did you have before you came up with this?
I've had many ideas.
You started some and you failed?
Yeah, maybe my track record is still good. I don't think I've started some and failed yet. But there's also been failings within the business, making unconscious decisions just because, you know, at the blink of an eye and not thinking it through. Those have been some of the mistakes we've made, and not seeking for advice before making a decision, or, you know, just spending money, you know, not getting
Return.
you know, getting a return out of it. So there have been mistakes within business. So yeah.
Well, again, failing. We're talking about failing, and we are again now with Mr. Robert. So how do you encourage failures? How do you go when a person comes in your office and asks you, you know, I have failed. I had 10 million, but I failed. Yes, I can sell my stuff to pay it back, but how do I get back on track with these business ideas?
Or give him him or her a word of encouragement as well. Anyway, it's like what I said. You keep on encouraging people to work. There's nothing that has been on the right channel. Nothing has been on the right line. So you need to move on. Nothing that has been perfect. You keep on trying, yeah? And you know, our system and our government has put in the right policies that would facilitate this business orientation. At the same time, this that doing business that is actually doing very well in Rwanda. What is important is to have this access to this information and using it rightly, so that you can achieve what is on the market or the opportunities that are around. At the same time, my friend, there is this, you know, when you are youth, when you are young and aggressive, you need to always be engaged with other. Like Kamikaze is saying, best experiences, best shows, you know, have that in mind.
Yes. And again, as we are coming to the conclusion of today's Youth Connect, we are still waiting for Huye. Huye, are you there?
So guys, this program of the
So if you have a question or two, or you have a comment or contribution that you want to put on the table, we are almost closing the discussion for today. You have 6 seconds or anything that you want to add on. If you have a question, please go ahead and ask it. We are ready to hear from you, Huye.
Thank you very much, Mr. Initiative, for hosting us. We didn't have a chance to listen to you, but we already know the topic, and we had an introduction about what Maria has achieved by starting from scratch. We heard that she's working in the company that collects waste and make some fashion wares and other products. I think it's right. So here we have people who have some ideas about job creation with various opportunities that we have in place. So we would like to give a chance to 2 people so that they can give this topic.
Go ahead.
And we will have an opportunity to get the broadcast of this program to us. Let's start by this lady, Diana. Tell me an idea about the opportunities of job creation.
Thank you. I think my idea about things banks we have around, at all they gave advertising about which loans, the type of loans, and how they can help out people. How they can help out people.
Is it possible for you guys to come closer to the microphone or whatever you're using to speak? We haven't gotten the last question.
Hello? I think
Yes,
you
that's
understand
better.
me now. So I was thinking, my idea was about the banks giving out opportunities to some, whether they are students or other people around the country, by giving them loans. If they advertise that there are different loans on the ground and on the market, I think people will have different ideas about the business, and they have even opportunities for using that real financial support from the banks, so that they can be able to take on themselves the jobs that they can be, that they can offer for them the job opportunities of different kinds. That was about my point, which goes with the bank. Bank itself giving out opportunities like the loans, advertising for that, and people being aware. So after being aware of that, then they can sit down, schedule out ideas about business that can help them go to those banks, have financial support for that. And I think with that, a big percentage of people, whether they use or not, they can really have an advantage of having job opportunities, looking for jobs without being jobs.
It is very hard to actually hear what she's talking about.
Was it an idea or a question?
We are not getting you, but if possible, you can allow us to have another idea.
Ideas are welcome.
Thank you very much. My name is Eno. Here as youth at Araboy campus, we discussed several opportunities that youth in Rwanda have in improving physical climate, which we really support the youth. The benefit of funds, which is a big problem. I mean, a big problem that most of the youth are having. Where some of them they don't know how to approach the banks, and they are lacking advisors. And then we said Rwanda is having a security and well strategically located, which can favor some of us to work very well. But the major problems that we saw was lack of funds and then lack of business advisors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Huye, for your suggestion and ideas.
Thank you very much. We are back to one more question addressed to Maria. How did you start?
Yes, we are about to conclude. And thank you for your contribution. We are in concluding this discussion, and thank you, Huye, for your contributions. And most of it was on how to use bank investment, but also talked about, you also, the last idea talked about lack of understanding on how to approach the banks in terms of how do you get loans. And as we are coming to the conclusion, I just want to ask a question to Maria. You talked about having different jobs and being able to know now, not really letting it actually making you stay in the job, but getting out of there and being in your comfortable zone, discomfort, and also starting your idea. I'm wondering, as we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about creation of a job, this is actually a lot of risk to take. How safe is it to leave your job and go start something you've always dreamt about to do?
It's a big risk. Just like many other decisions in life, we are supposed to take risks to enter into a new stage. And that can be uncomfortable, sometimes it can be painful, sometimes you're uncertain of where you're going, but because of what you want to achieve in the long run, that is your fuel at the end of the day. So what I'd like to say maybe to young people out there who are who are maybe in employment and want to start a business, you'll never know until you try. You know, they always say try and fail, but never fail to try. So you cannot, you just try. As we said, failure is a part of life. Sometimes you fail, sometimes you succeed, but you'll never know if you'll succeed unless you try.
And you also not know. We never know if you will fail unless you try. So
Yeah.
just let's try, and that's your big advice and big tip for entrepreneurs out there.
Just go out and do it.
And in your experience, also someone has worked for a long period of time, also working with youth today. What are the tips? What are the advice? What are the do's and don'ts that you want to tell these people, just as we're closing?
And change the mindset. And know that everything is possible.
Mm.
The don'ts is never and never fail to try a business.
Mm.
And actually, what have been shown now, they have raised very, very promising ideas and promising questions. This means there is that mindset has shown that there is a very big change in the mindset as questions raised and as ideas raised. So I think we are having the big business giants who remain, who will stand on shoulders of our elders who have been doing business, which is a promising to the economic development of the nation. Thank you.
Well, as we are coming to conclusion, thank you very much for Maria, who came all the way from Angaza, who is shining through our creation from the West and making the West very, very impressive ideas. And thank you, Mr. Robert, who came from National Youth Council, the Executive General of the National Youth Council. Thank you for Caleb Site, who did great in contributing to our conversation. Also, thank you for and we apologize for the technical problems that we faced. And we will see you next time in our Youth Connect Hangout. And these discussions are, again, mainly to focus on engaging youth, to creation, to being able to have different mindset, to sharing ideas on how we can advance in creating jobs, but also embracing social challenges, but also dealing with it together with different ideas and perspectives. Thank you very much for today, and I will see you next time.
See you.